the most grossly incompetent man in government, the worst president ever of any country. The whole world is laughing at him. He's a fool. A gentleman named Donald J. Trump. Have you heard of him?
In the midst of the ongoing gag order and sleepy court opinions, Trump drove to Wildwood, New Jersey for a campaign event. He talked about a lot of trash at the rally, which is to be expected. But what really astounded me was how many uncanny people were in attendance. They began to exit the arena one by one, suggesting that America is starting to get weary of Trump and his tongue. What's astonishing is that a few of Trump's most ardent followers participated in this enigmatic march past. It was a frightening wake-up call, and a genuinely humiliating moment for Trump. Mr. Shits and Pants was not aware of how trashy he was that night, but maybe the unanimous applause would have told him.
Emmanuel, hi!
Okay, you want to go?
Like everyone else?
Yeah. Because that would be... Yeah, because that would be like if we win big.
The fact that Trump ignored the crowd's initial uproar and kept acting as though he was oblivious that anyone was leaving, even though many in the front row were unwilling to put up with the absurdity, and most importantly, the terrible behavior, is even more repulsive. MAGA used to get pumped at Trump rallies in the same way. How in the world does MAGA leave the hall with the impression that Trump doesn't exist? This was their situation immediately following the New Jersey rally.
You gotta do what's right. It was a terrible attack. October 7th was a terrible attack. I don't know, probably bad political.
You know that Trump's attempts to make even his most devoted supporters leave the arena were the last straw. You obviously want to hear what the orangutan lord said, which was so disgusting that they had to leave. Here's a hint.
Joined today by two incredible football legends, New York Giants, Super Bowl heroes. I guess I would have to say Lawrence Taylor is the greatest defensive player ever. I'm a little prejudiced, but I would say that. And a man who was possessed during Super Bowl, he was a Super Bowl MVP, Otis O.J. Anderson in the air. Come on up, fellas, for a second. Come on up.
Now, if you know anything about speeches, you would agree that this one was pure, especially coming from a previous contender for the presidency. Instead of revealing his strategy, how he won the election, or any other kind of information that his supporters would find helpful. We're not sure whether Trump's brain damage from spending the entire day in court has caused him to have difficulties upstairs, or if he's simply so irritated and frustrated about the whole situation that he's taking out his frustration on his poor. It's also possible that he's just trying to skirt the gag order a little bit now that he has an opportunity to do so. Trump had to squander everyone's valuable time with clumsy remarks, awkward jokes, and uninvited visitors on stage. Thousands of MAGA supporters began to bend. It's possible that they finally understood they were also deserving of more than Trump. Trump's garbage is not worthy of the American people.
So I was in New Hampshire, and he was fine. He's like totally entertaining. It's called Trump derangement.
It was just a matter of time until Trump's political career plummeted into chaos, and probably even jail, given the steadily skewed nature of his anchorman MAGA. Although Trump was already insane, it's regrettable what he's become. Trump ended up pushing his admirers out of their seats because he had so much he wanted to get off his chest. Given the current circumstances, a lot of Trump supporters are wondering if the unwavering former president is gradually going insane. Did the startling testimonies from porn star Stormy Daniels and other friends who later became den foes affect Trump's ego and capacity for reason after just 1 week of his quiet in court?
Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen a Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. Remember the last scene? Excuse me, I'm about to have a friend for dinner. As this poor doctor walked by. I'm about to have a friend for dinner, but Hannibal...
To be clear, Trump is not being helped by this whole hush money trial. This dude could really use some prayers right now, so maybe we should call a priest or something. There was no editing done to this. It all happened live. We're not sure if anyone on the globe can decipher what Trump meant to say about the silence of the Lamb or the Hannibal Doctor narrative, or if he's speaking in some sort of extraterrestrial language or code that only he can decipher. Nevertheless, people have been baffled by Trump's comments and are unable to understand him.
You cannot call Chris Christie a fat pig. You cannot do that. Please, sir, if you call him a fat pig once more, I'm going to have you leave the arena. And the guy didn't know what was happening. I said, don't worry about it.
Can you dinner with your phone too? Because I'm not getting it.
But I said, you cannot call him a fat pig because you're not allowed to use the fat.
Regretfully, more questions than answers still remain. It's funny since the start of the hush money trial around a month ago, Trump has only called 3 rallies. What will happen if it takes weeks or months for the case to be resolved if Trump is already losing? Will he begin reciting children's songs during his demonstrations? Or will he simply do what comes naturally to him? Fart. Trump's earlier offenses had already put his dreams of becoming president of the United States in peril. But his recent acts at this event may have pushed him over the line and ended his political career. Voters were already complaining about having to choose between 2 incompetent, aging politicians, so the damage was done. But it seems like Trump has recently proven he is more skilled than Biden. For example, Trump has been the real loser in many ways lately. Trump used to call Joe Biden, the United States president, sleepy.
Now, Sleepy Joe would say the unemployment rate in the great state of Ohio. No, you're in South Carolina. Joe, you're in South. They come up with you. Ever see the guy that no, it's.
However, subsequent court cases have shown that Trump is the best sleeper of them all. Even his lawyers are thinking of filing a lawsuit against him because of his ridiculous habit of dozing off in court. Not only that, but Trump also often damaged Biden's self-esteem with his incoherent mutterings and misrepresentations of events on stage.
I understand it. It's clear in its face. You're accurate. But how, in making the case of the freedom men have, what do you do other than to sort of embarrass men into getting into the argument and voting the right way?
But it seems like Trump has evolved, since he is now the one improvising statements and combining words on stage that don't make sense. Is there any way to confirm that this is the same Trump interview? As we've seen Biden do multiple times in the meantime, it's possible that Trump will eventually slip and fall, or lose his sense of direction during live events. Still, Trump is still Trump. At least the man says so. Is this just another one of his Trump cards? Or did he do anything like take a shot of the Biden dementia medication? Here are a few of his derogatory remarks and swear words from the rally that, at the very least, made sense.
New York, where I'm being forced to endure a Biden show trial carried out by radical Democrat district attorney. You know who he is? Fat Al.
At one point, as Trump was screaming at the people of Wildwood, New Jersey, his brains couldn't keep up with him. Maybe because he had so much to say about everything. Following his denial that the hush money case was false, Trump humped it and gave Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg a slap across the face. Alvin Trump also took advantage of the Supreme Court's gag order to trash the judge overseeing the case. Above all, however, was Trump's vicious criticism of his opponent, President Joe Biden, accusing him of being to blame for all of his problems and, of course, making fun of him in his trademark fashion. It seems that Trump thinks the orange-haired fart lord still has a lot of extraneous material in his windpipe. We're not sure if Biden offered Trump the Stormy Daniel-ass antidotes, or if he told him to bribe her and go with his tail between his legs. Though no one truly knows what is going on with Trump, speculation is rampant at the moment. It appears that the horrifying testimony of Stormy Daniels had a profound impact on him, shaking him to his core. The former president rocked them that day, much harder than she did that evening when they had a hot sexual encounter. So we doubt she's even been able to take a full shower. But this is just the beginning. Things are awful because Trump's former colleague, Michael Cohen, is in court.
The Trump attorney is specifically reading a post that Michael Cohen made on Twitter on April 22nd, in which he refers to Donald Trump as Von Schitz.
It appears that the majority of attendees don't attend Trump rallies out of love or support for the candidate. Rather, they attend mainly for the entertaining sideshow. Thousands of people attend Trump's rallies to hear the harsh, naive presidential candidate speak, which is why his campaigns have always generated news. Some news media claim hundreds of thousands of Americans attended the gathering in support of the elderly guy in diapers. But in actuality, just a few thousand people showed up. Recent observations even seem to suggest that his statistics are typically overstated. You are probably correct if you believe that all of this is just one big pretentious hoax and propaganda. It's hardly unexpected, to be honest, because all of Trump's numbers are made up or phony, just like his figures about his billionaire financial fortune. Even further, some media sources have claimed that 880,000 people attended his rally in Wildwood, New Jersey. This is how the genuine Trump rally audience looked. In the interim, no one actually verified or checked anything. Instead, everyone only reiterated what Trump had stated, and we all know how OV and crafty he can be when it comes to manipulating the appearance of the orange-haired fart lord. Regardless, it's rather horrible because MAGA created these figures out of thin air and then released them. The erroneous information gets spread by every other MAGA account and associated newspaper.
Campaign backdrop this afternoon, town officials estimate the crowd at 80,000 people packing the sand to hear from the former president. It was a welcome sight for businesses at the beach as well. Action News reporter Charles Watson has the full story.
Take a hard look at those present. Do they look like 800,000 or even 80,000 people? Why not if it isn't? 799,000 individuals left when Trump started to leave 1,000 people behind.
Cannot call Chris Christie a fat pig. You cannot do that. Please, sir, if you call him a fat pig once more, I'm going to have you leave the arena. And the guy didn't know what was happening. I said, don't worry
Can
about
you
it.
get it with your phone too? Because I'm not getting it.
But I said, you cannot call him a fat pig because you're not allowed to use that.
The N-word. If this is accurate, we can't blame the throng. To begin with, they were tired of the blatantly arrogant former president's endless babbling and badgering. Although Trump has a history of making things up, this was just too much.
New York, where I'm being forced to endure a Biden show trial carried out by radical Democrat district attorney. You know who he is? Fat Al.
It is simultaneously hilarious and depressing, especially considering that fine people patiently gave up their important time to listen to him talk. Some Trump fans reportedly began to show up as early as midday, chanting and making noise in an effort to gain time, while the president was still on the road. When he came, they even hosted a welcoming party for him. But in the end, everything was a show. Please share your opinions in the space provided below for comments on this most recent development. In order to receive notifications when we upload our next video, kindly click the bell icon, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you in the next one. New Jerseyans' hearts were broken by Trump. Who knows? Maybe this will be the tipping point in an already contentious political campaign.